Hey everyone, and welcome back to KenkoVibe, your daily dose of health insights. I'm Ethan Reed.
And I'm Grace Morgan.
So today, we are diving into a question that many of you red wine lovers out there have probably thought about. Can you enjoy a glass or two and still, lose weight?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people wonder about that.
Yeah, so let's unpack this a little.
Yeah, so right off the bat, you have to remember there are calories in red wine, about 125 for a standard 5-ounce serving. So
Right.
those calories mostly come from alcohol, which has more calories per gram than carbs or protein. So,
Okay, so that's something to keep in mind, but red wine also contains resveratrol,
right.
which I've heard has all kinds of amazing health and benefits. Where does that fit in?
Yeah, resveratrol is a powerful antioxidant, and it's been linked to improved heart health and better blood sugar regulation and even reduced inflammation.
Wow.
And you'll often hear red wine talked about as part of the Mediterranean diet, which is known for its positive impact on weight management, among other things.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a good side and a maybe not so good side calorie-wise, but what does the research actually say about red wine and weight loss?
Well, that's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Studies have shown mixed results. Some animal studies suggest that red wine might actually help with weight and fat reduction,
Oh, interesting.
but other studies have shown the opposite effect.
So it's not a slam dunk either way. What about research involving humans?
Yeah, there was one study on people struggling with obesity that found that the antioxidants in red wine didn't seem to affect their blood sugar control.
Okay.
However, other human studies suggest that moderate alcohol consumption might actually improve blood sugar control, which could help with weight management.
Okay, so the research isn't totally clear on whether red wine directly contributes to weight loss or not,
Yeah.
but you mentioned moderate drinking a couple of times now. How much red wine are we talking about here?
Good point. Moderation is key. For men, that means no more than 2 servings of alcohol per day.
Okay.
And for women, it's no more than one. And remember, 1 serving of wine is just 5 ounces.
So it's all about being mindful of how much you're pouring, but let's be honest, when you're enjoying a glass of wine, it's easy to lose track.
Absolutely. And that's where things can get tricky if you're trying to lose weight.
Right.
We already talked about the calorie content of alcohol, but you also have to factor in the sugar
Oh.
content of some wines, which can add to those extra calories.
So those sweet wines might not be the best choice if you are watching your weight.
Exactly. And here's another thing to think about: overdoing it on alcohol, including red wine, can increase your risk of insulin resistance.
Now, I know insulin is important for regulating blood sugar, but how does that tie into weight loss?
Well, when you have insulin resistance, your body doesn't use insulin effectively, which can lead to higher blood sugar levels. And over time, this can increase your risk of weight gain and even type 2 diabetes.
So it's not just about the calories in the wine itself, it's about the potential impact on your overall metabolism.
Precisely, it's all connected.
All right, so far we've learned that red wine has some potential benefits, but also some drawbacks when it comes to weight loss. It seems like finding that balance is key. But let's say someone really enjoys a glass of red wine. What advice would you give them if they're trying to lose weight?
Well, first and foremost, don't despair.
Okay.
You can still enjoy a glass of red wine, but awareness is key. You need to be mindful of the serving size and how often you're indulging.
So no more nightly glasses of Cabernet?
Not necessarily, but if weight loss is your goal, you might want to think of red wine as an occasional treat rather than a daily habit.
Okay, so being strategic about when you enjoy that glass of wine is important. What else should people keep in mind?
This might seem obvious, but pay attention to those calories. Track your intake, including the calories from red wine, using a food journal, a calorie counting app, or even just good old-fashioned mental notes.
So making that conscious effort to lug it just like you would any other food or drink.
Exactly. And when you do choose to enjoy a glass, remember what we said about sugar content. Try opting for drier red wines over those sweeter varieties.
Got it. So choose a Sauvignon Blanc over a port, for instance. It seems like there are a lot of little things you can do to manage your intake.
Absolutely. It's all about making informed choices and finding what works best for you.
Great advice. Now let's shift gears a bit and dive into a few more practical tips for enjoying red wine while staying on track with your weight loss goals. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're in the middle of our deep dive exploring the connection between red wine and weight loss, and so far we've seen that while a glass of red wine can be part of a healthy lifestyle, it's important to be mindful of its calorie content and potential impact on blood sugar.
Absolutely. And how our bodies use that alcohol.
Exactly. Now, earlier we mentioned that alcohol is more calorie dense than carbs or protein. Can you unpack that a little further for our listeners?
Yeah, so when we talk about calories, we're really talking about units of energy, right? Alcohol provides 7 calories per gram,
Okay.
while carbs and protein each provide 4 calories per gram. So gram for gram, alcohol has more calories.
Okay, so that explains why those wine calories can kind of sneak up on you.
Mhm.
But it's not just about the number of calories, is it?
You're right. It's also about how your body actually processes alcohol.
Okay.
When you drink alcohol, your body prioritizes breaking it down before it turns to other fuel sources like fat.
So it's like alcohol cuts to the front of the line, pushing fat burning to the back burner.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And if you're drinking alcohol regularly, this can really affect your body's ability to burn fat efficiently.
Interesting. So even if you're staying within your daily calorie goals, alcohol can still make weight loss more difficult.
Exactly. It's just another piece of the puzzle.
Now, we've talked about portion control and watching out for the sugar content in wine. But are there any other practical tips you could share for people who want to enjoy a glass of red wine while they're working towards their weight loss goals?
Yeah, for sure. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't have to get resveratrol only from red wine.
Oh, okay.
You can also find this great antioxidant in foods like grapes, berries, peanuts, and even dark chocolate.
Oh, wow. So if someone is really concerned about the calories in wine, they could get their resveratrol from other sources.
Exactly. It's all
That,
about figuring out what works for your own needs and what you like.
I like it. Now, I know you mentioned before that dessert wines are higher in sugar and calories. Can you give us some examples of wines that people might want to avoid or at least choose less often?
Sure. So dessert wines like port sherry and ice wine tend to be much higher in sugar and alcohol content, so they'll have more calories than drier wines.
So if you're watching your calories, you might want to skip those sweeter wines for now. What about some lower calorie red wines?
Drier reds like Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot are generally lower in calories than those dessert wines. But remember, moderation is still key even with these.
So be smart about your choices and don't think that all red wines are the same when it comes to calories.
Exactly. And it's always a good idea to check the label for nutritional information if you're not sure about the calories in a certain wine.
That's a really good tip. Now let's change gears a bit and talk about some lifestyle factors that can affect how alcohol affects your body. Welcome back to KenkoVibe. We've been talking about red wine and weight loss, and it seems like there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, there are definitely a few more things to keep in mind if you're trying to lose weight and still enjoy a glass of red wine every now and then.
Okay, I'm listening.
hmm
What else should our listeners know?
Well, one thing is to really think about what you eat when you're drinking alcohol,
Oh, okay.
because it can actually lower your inhibitions
Uh-huh.
and make you more likely to eat more than you planned or make less healthy choices.
So that late night pizza after a couple glasses of wine might not be the best idea.
Exactly. If you're going to have wine, try to pair it with a healthy meal or some healthy snacks to avoid those cravings and help you make better choices.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about exercise? Does that make a difference?
Oh, for sure. Regular physical activity is so important for losing weight, and alcohol can actually interfere with your
Oh,
workouts.
really?
Well, alcohol can dehydrate you, which can affect how well you perform and make you feel tired. It can also make it harder for your muscles to recover and even increase your risk of getting injured.
So it's probably best to limit how much alcohol you drink if you're working out regularly, especially close to your workout time.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance, like we've been talking about.
Right. Now, we've covered a lot today, from what's in red wine to practical tips for managing how much you drink.
Mm.
What's the main thing you want listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is to be informed and make deliberate choices.
Okay.
Red wine can absolutely be part of a healthy lifestyle, but moderation and being aware are key, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So pay attention to serving sizes, sugar content, and how often you're having wine.
Uh-huh.
And don't forget, there are other ways to get resveratrol if you decide to cut out alcohol altogether.
That's a great point. It's about figuring out what works best for you and making choices that help you reach your goals.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into red wine and weight loss. I'm Ethan Reed.
And I'm Grace Morgan.
Thanks for tuning in to KenkoVibe, your daily dose of health insights.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you have a minute, leave us a rating and review. We love hearing from you.
And be sure to share this episode with anyone who might find it helpful. Until next time, stay healthy and keep those vibes high.